Good. Ready?
No, that's just a workshop.
Good morning, good morning. Oh, wow. It is now 10:07, and the Brazos County Commissioners Court is in session with workshop. This workshop will be detailed towards our court calendar for the next year. This is nothing that the commissioners are trying to impose. This is an idea that from the two conferences we've attended this year, we noticed a ton of counties met twice a month. So this was a opportunity that we sought that may help our departments and our teams if you think so. So this is an opportunity for you to speak, talk about the benefits or the negative side of this, but with the new legislation and posting of court dates and workshops, it would give you all ample opportunity. We do not intend for it to change our ability to pay invoices or payroll or have any implications. This was simply brought to our attention, and we wanted to give you all that make the county work every day the opportunity to chime in. So the agenda is simple. We will like to hear from the employees. We will have public comments. At this time, there's nobody from the public, but I do have a requested public comment sent to us email, which I will read during that period, and then we will discuss. So at this time, there are 9 county employees signed up to discuss, testify, and it is open during the entire workshop. So if you decide you would like to speak based on something you hear from a different department, please feel free to come to Aubrey or Cheryl, and we will pass the sign-up sheet and allow you to discuss, because this is simply for you to do your job as good as you can and not be under a pressure to have everything ready every Tuesday, if that's the case. If not, we will proceed as normal, and at this time, the court will call. I feel bad. We just finished up the budget, and Miss, you want to go last? We'll call Miss Nina Payne with the budget office. Nina, thank you. Sorry, you get to go right back to work.
You know,
I know you hadn't been up there frequently, so just relax. Yeah.
it's
She
gonna
looks
be.
more relaxed.
I didn't sleep last night because it was starting. I'm preparing for 27 already.
If it makes you feel better, I slept like a baby. It was awesome.
It's like those commercials. How do you sleep? Okay, so for budget, it really doesn't affect us that much besides having the departments be prepared. They're going to have to start planning instead of, oh, I could do it next week. They're really going to have to plan on their expenditures and projects. And so for them, it might be adjustment for them to really look into the future instead of just worrying about next week coming and doing budget amendments on that side. On big expenditures, say for instance the LPPF, I know that Katie and I have started getting them prepared to try to send the request to send the LPPF funds to the state more in advance. And if they just don't make it, what is the state going to tell us? Not to do it. So we have them working in advance already with the new schedule. For the budgeting cycle, I have to start a little earlier, which is not a big deal, as long as I have the budget adopted on a regular Commissioners Court agenda, which looks like next year is going to be on the 8th. So put that on your calendar. We're planning on adopting the budget on September 8th. So other than that, I think budget will be okay.
Well,
Sound good?
and we can add meetings to this if we need to, certainly for the budget time.
Especially for emergencies. So for instance, something major comes up, we could schedule an emergency meeting if we needed to, but that's rare.
We have flexibility, and I want everybody to know, looking at this calendar on the board, it is heavily influenced by holidays,
Yay.
which are important. I think everybody wants Christmas off for some reason.
But we'll make that schedule work on our end. It's just getting the departments really prepared to planning. So, sound good?
Ms. Payne, thank you so much. Commissioners, any other questions?
No, not yet.
Perfect, thank you. The court now calls Katie Connor. Are we 18 days, 17 days, 18? You can keep that smile contained a little bit.
Oh, she's so, she is so
I'm a
relaxed
short
now. I
timer.
told her, she just looks like, she's just inhaling, it's coming, it's coming. You look so relaxed.
I am not going to say for or against that statement. You said a word I'm not going
No,
on.
it's a good thing. No, that's,
My concern, I've brought up before, there is an AG opinion that says that Commissioners Court has the responsibility and obligation to review all claims before they're paid. And it's going to have to, the departments are going to have to plan better on, because we've already moved, our deadline for claims was 5 o'clock on Wednesday. We already had to move it back to 5 o'clock on Monday for, not the next Tuesday, not the next day, but for the full. So that's at least one more week added to the time that it takes to get claims paid. Several companies charge late fees, and they don't care if we have 30 days to pay by statute. They still want us to pay 3 weeks. Optimum's one of them that I can think of. They put late charges on it flat as soon as it's,
so do you think that would force the department, if a department has a claim, if they're not, I call it on point, staying, because it'll kind of promote, if you're waiting 2 weeks, it'll kind of procrastination, or I got time to do that, could impact that?
yes. And vacations, people need to take vacations. And I don't know when a lot of the bills come in on the same time of the month. A lot of the electricity bills come in, but I don't know if it's in time for like the first meeting of the month or the second meeting of the month. And we
So-
can make adjustments. It's just something that has to be thought about ahead of time.
Did you reach out to any of those counties that do meet twice a month to see how they handle those claims?
No.
Okay.
Optimum, these are the same people that occasionally need our authority to do road bores, right? I'm just joking. I'm just-
Verizon does, but we don't really pay a whole
No,
lot
we
of
don't do
Verizon.
Optimum. I'm just-
I never see that much from Optimum.
No, I'm just messing
No,
around.
but yeah, exactly. And then, of course, invariably, there'll be something, always,
You mean
always.
emergency,
But
you
if
mean?
you can do, if we can figure out that it's an emergency by Tuesday, and we can get 3 of you here by Friday, because there's emergency meetings, but I don't know that claims would qualify as an emergency meeting, meaning, I don't remember the advance
According
notice
to the
time.
workshop we did at TAC, they would not qualify.
Right,
Regular
and so you
business
still
would
have
not
to have
qualify.
3
Right.
business days,
Right.
and so you pretty much have to know by Tuesday to have a Friday meeting, et cetera. And so we can always do that if we run into issues with claims being paid.
Okay.
Good.
Commissioners, any other questions?
5 business days,
5
Ooh,
business
Lordy.
days.
yeah.
You can't read minds, Ed, you can't read lips, let's go.
Oh,
What
yeah, that's
notice?
right.
Yeah.
So
I didn't-
posting's gone from
I thought
3
it
to
said
5
from-
days.
I thought it said 3
Is that-
business days is what I thought. It changed from
it
72
doesn't matter.
hours to 3
I think we're
business
still
days.
looking
It's the
for
same thing.
guidance on definition of a business day through the legislature. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
I haven't written an AG opinion request, so, but I'm changing it to the deadlines to match the 3 business days, not including the weekend anymore.
Because there's no way something's going to happen on a Saturday or Sunday, so it really should it should be business days when people are physically present to do the job or to do the work.
But you,
Understood.
just as an aside, you could be called in on a weekend if we have an emergency.
I understand
Yeah,
that, but I'm talking about just the kind of the general operation of what we do, and in this case, something like this.
Yes.
You would think in terms of business days, I understand weekends, we could get called, because, I'm there. I'm
We'll
ready
come
to
to
put
your
out a
house.
fire or something. Anyway,
That's the main thing that I would be concerned about, is
Claims.
people not playing, well,
Thank
budget
you.
amendments and claims, because it's sometimes you have in each department, you pretty much have one person who takes care of claims. And that same person generally watches the budget. Do they do it diligently? Most of them. Are some of the departments so big they don't know what other people are spending? Yes. And that's where you end up being an emergency. I can't, they're like, But that's what happens, is they've got people spending money and not telling making sure that the information is passed on to who needs to know.
And we are working diligently to fix all those issues, correct?
They're elected officials, there's nothing I can do.
Next 16 days.
My only threat is we could start having to pay interest on any payment that's later than 30 days. We do not currently. I know one other county does, and the state of Texas. I don't know if you remember on the Dodge report from the state of Texas, a lot of their concerns were based on interest payments, having to pay interest.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions for Katie? Katie, before you run off, I know we'll celebrate, but thank you for all you've done for Brazos County.
Absolutely.
Sorry for my dramatic entrance yesterday. I just,
Yeah, what was that?
you started talking about debt, and I'm like, we can just, it's a reimbursement resolution, not a reimbursement bond. And anyway.
Okay. Anyway, no.
Thank you
No,
for
before
that.
you go.
Thank you.
Uh-oh,
say
Katie,
firstly,
Commissioner Watson has
I just
a,
want to say thank you also. When I was brand new and didn't know which way was up in terms of how Commissioner Court worked, you immediately stepped in and said, how can I help? What do you need to know? And I just want to thank you for getting me ready to be where I am today. So I'm
Well,
gonna
I
miss you.
think it's supposed to be a surprise, but it's not really a surprise. I think there's something on the 30th of the month that y'all can,
Have remarks about you.
yes.
it's called a
wanna hear-
roast.
Yes, exactly. And as a matter of fact, no, anyway,
I'll give you her cell phone so you can keep in contact.
yeah, everybody has that, but,
Thank you, Katie.
huh?
Nothing. I said, I don't already have it.
You might. I don't know. Anyway, I hope I was helpful.
You
That's
were.
always my
Thank you.
goal. It doesn't always come out right.
No, institutional knowledge is always valuable, and I thank you for that.
Katie, thank you so much. Next up with HR, Jennifer Salazar.
Good morning. From an HR perspective, we're on board. Yes, I agree with what Nina and Katie both said about departments are just going to have to plan well in advance to make sure, hiring, pay increases, position changes aren't affected. We did reach out to legal this morning to try to see about personal action forms. Do they have to come to court for departments and get approved before they can become effective, or is it more of an FYI? And so we'll continue to work with legal to solve that and hopefully resolve that one potential issue that we could see coming. Obviously, departments, it may take a little bit longer to hire. It may take a little longer to post just because the job description has to get approved in court before we can post the position. But I think those are things we can all work through. One of the biggest advantages from an HR perspective is that we could probably cut down to doing orientation every other week instead of every week, which would make HR much more efficient because we use 2 staff members for about half a day every time we do orientation. So
That's great.
we're on board.
Good, thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Any questions, Commissioners? Thank you so
No
much.
problem.
Next, from the Sheriff's Office, Chief Kevin Stewart.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Kevin Stewart, Chief Deputy, Sheriff's Office, Precinct 4.
He's got it down.
Just trying to be correct. I think that we're in favor, we're supportive of making modifications to be more efficient, certainly. Do have some concerns that were brought up before, and really it comes down to we just need to be able to take care of our business day to day, and there's some things that happen that can't wait 2 weeks. And so I think it's a good time to look at some of the processes, the way that we handle some of that, and maybe take another look at what is truly required to come before Commissioners Court for a vote, as opposed to what's supposed to be reviewed, or like we're talking about claims, what constitutes an actual claim versus a bill. I don't know. I'm just so I think we're supportive. I just want y'all to be aware of some of those things that may come up, like hiring. We want to be able to hire somebody whenever we can, from my perspective, certainly. And so we're supportive of it, but we want to make sure that something doesn't get lost in the.
We need to ensure that
All
our
a mix.
policy and procedures are legal and correct and give the departments the ability to move within that 2-week time period.
Right. So, but
Be
in general,
agile.
in general, we're supportive of it, but Again, just to reiterate, probably a good opportunity to take a look at, is it just the way we've always done things, or is it time to look and see what actually legally is required to be voted on, and then maybe we can have a separate process that will alleviate some of the other concerns the departments have. So
Correct.
that's my-
Commissioners,
that's my input
any
on it.
questions for Chief Stewart?
No,
All right.
Chief,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much. Next up from IT, Eric Caldwell. You're going to have to work on your twirl.
yeah, but you need a little more swagger, a little more swagger.
I need more swagger, I guess, huh?
Well, she showed you up and ran behind your back, so watch yourself.
Eric Caldwell, Chief Information Officer of Brazos County. I'm neutral on this. I don't know that I have a lot to add. I'm certainly not opposed to it. I would simply echo 2 points that Katie has already brought up, and that is budget amendments and then payment of claims. You know, if we cannot get our invoices in by that Monday deadline, we don't get them in until Tuesday, that means it doesn't go on to court the following week. If, you know, if there's a 2-week stretch between commissioners' courts, it may mean that our invoices are delayed getting paid. And then budget amendments, if money is in our budget and it needs to be moved into the receiving department's budget, if there's a delay in getting that money over there before we can start the acquisition process, it just means that there is that additional week delay. Yeah. Seemed like there was another point I was going to make concerning that. That's really all I have.
You have the ability to come back to the podium.
I know what I was going to add. I was going to add that we can get creative. In a lot of cases, you know, if money needs to be placed into the receiving department's budget, for example, it's possible.
You have Nina's attention and Katie's.
Well, what I meant by that is that in the event of a dire situation, we can typically find money somewhere in IT's budget that has not yet been spent. It's earmarked for a different purpose, but as long as it's in the right categorization, we can go ahead and start that acquisition process, and then either journal entries are done after the fact, or no, okay.
Here comes another grand entrance.
Hey, Eric, Marcy is not here today, but she will take applications for the audit department.
I think I've dug myself a deep enough hole. I'm going to step away from the podium now.
We really need some
Welcome
theme-
back, Katie.
theme music
Yeah,
when
we
she's
just
gonna
have
walk
to be
up.
careful on creative. We don't want to put expenditures in requisitions in the wrong account to bypass the accounting structure. Do you see that?
Correct.
Ugly word, bypass or circumvent or.
Manipulate.
Yeah, because the well, one of the things that the outside auditors are trying to look for is journal entries. And if we're having to constantly move stuff around, it's hard to keep track of where it's at.
We know what you meant, Eric.
But this is where the,
He's one of the biggest adversaries to journal entries. Forever, remember?
but this is where the importance of our policy and procedures going forward is going to be vital.
And I would add that really what I had in mind there is specifically computers. If we are
Yeah, speaking to
in
the
need
mic.
of,
Yeah.
if we are in need of a computer, we have dollars in our, what we call our rollout budget, the dollars that are earmarked for replacing about a quarter of our fleet every year. So there's a big pile of money there that it's meant to be used to buy computers. And what I meant was that in a dire situation, if we need to buy a computer for another department, and ultimately that acquisition needs to be expensed to that department, but the budget amendment has not happened, we can buy it out of our current operating budget, and then the budget amendment can happen after the fact?
You got their approval now.
Okay.
And I think duly noted for us, looking at policies and procedures going forward. And I think we've had this discussion. This is giving the department's ability to do business daily. And that's what we want you to be able to do. But we have to do it legally, go through the policies and procedures, and you all have to be on board for us to change the calendar. Thank you, Eric. Commissioners, any other questions? With that, it is time for purchasing, and WM Charles went.
I know I have a hard time finding him when I need to email him, because I look for Charles, and it's William.
I would like to suggest that we get some walk-up music for when Charles approaches the podium.
Kind of like baseball.
Stevie Wonder?
Something.
That's how I do my job sometimes, close my eyes and wander around in the dark.
No, you didn't.
Very well said.
No, you didn't.
Anyway, I'm sorry, we're supposed to be professional up here today. I think we're budget punch crazy.
Charles, thank you for stepping up to the plate.
Go ahead.
He went Guns N' Roses on you.
That's very nice, thank you.
All with love.
Along with all the other departments, purchasing is happy to do whatever the court pleases. There are some potential challenges, as previously mentioned, primarily from the department standpoint. There will be a shift. With any change you make, you need to be cognizant of your end users. I think that they can all adjust, but I do want to point out that sometimes we get things not from the departments, but from the court. There hasn't been anything recently, but if we get something, if the first court date, that we, I don't know, when we start this, is say on the 30th, and then we're not going to have it for 2 weeks. If we have something submitted on October 1st, then the next available court date is October 21st. And I apologize, I did not compare it to this list. I didn't see this ahead of time.
Right.
But we're looking at potentially 3 weeks before we could have a contract or otherwise submitted to Commissioner's Court. Again, it's not an insurmountable problem, depending on what the issue is at that time.
And like I said, these were based on holidays, so given the opportunity, if we knew that we had a purchase coming up, we could always call a meeting, add a meeting in there.
Yeah,
But
and
this
not
is
not an emergency meeting, just another.
a
meeting.
regular
Meeting,
meeting,
right.
yes.
Yeah.
This is a new way of doing business.
Right.
We need to go through all the issues and potential benefits today, and that's where we're headed. And I'm trying not to speak for the court, but the court wants to hear from y'all to make sure it works for all departments.
I think there's some inherent advantages in doing that, but it's like changing the tires on your vehicle. If you change 2, then all of a sudden you say, hey, well, I'm going to change 4. You still have that amount of time. It's not going to be spaced out on a weekly basis. It will now be amortized over a 2-week basis. And so there will be some efficiencies gained, but I think that there will also be some of that time will not be, it won't be more efficient for us in processing those agenda items and all. We put a few items on the agenda every week, and it takes a significant amount of time. And so now that will be crammed into one day instead of scattered over 2 days. And so, again, we're up to the challenge. I have a tremendous team that really does all the hard work for purchasing, and so we can handle it. But it does take some time to do that. I think one thing, efficiency that would be potentially gained, we have made it a practice, and I'll just pitch this out there. We've made it a practice to send any contract that needs a signature to Commissioner's Court. The statutes and our purchasing policy, of which y'all just amended a couple weeks ago, allows us in smaller amounts below the statutory limit to be able to sign those contracts. We have, as a practice, not done that, only in very rare circumstances, and send everything to Commissioner's Court. One mode of efficiency would be to be able to go ahead and implement the ability, if the court had faith, that we could sign some of those lower dollar contracts. And I'm happy to discuss that individually, or however to try to speed things up as necessary.
That's one of the efficiencies I think needs to happen. Court, commissioners? Yes, we don't need to okay a $10 contract.
$18.11, I believe.
Yes.
A couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
So
You have the authority to do
we,
that.
we don't do any of that unilaterally. We still go through risk. We still go through legal. We still go through the security team at IT for anything that affects them. So it's, anyway. So
Thank you for your willingness. Commissioners,
Thank you, Charles.
Yep.
You
Thanks,
did a
Charles.
great
Thank you, sir.
job.
perfect. Thank you so much.
No music as he walks away.
Now from Treasury, Christian Villarreal.
This is a VRBO collector, right?
Only to those paying.
Not gonna touch that.
He just got MC Hammer.
So for us, it would be, like people have talked about, it's claims. To answer your question, Commissioner Nettles, the way that certain counties operate is that they use part of the statute 113.047 in the local government code that allows salaries and some expenses to be authorized by the officer, which would be a precinct officer, a county officer, district officer. There's a short list that they give, and for us, I would obviously want to keep it as small as possible if we did it that way. Strictly things that could be cut off or would gain late fees pretty quickly. Utilities would be the biggest one. In my mind, we'd have to go through our whole list, but it would have to obviously go through legal, make sure everything is proper in that sense, but then also it would have to be a resolution order approved by y'all in order to operate in that manner. That would also mean that the auditor would have to be in agreement as well because it passes through the auditor's office before it ever gets to us. If the auditor does not agree with that, then it stops there.
Yep.
So there is that part. The other thing with going to 2 weeks a month is we would obviously have to push our deadline up for when invoices need to be in our office because there'd be a bigger amount that we're trying to process. And usually departments tend to hammer us on the last day or so with all of them. So we would have to move that deadline up.
But that would potentially change with the extra time and understanding.
Potentially, if departments get it, yeah. But again, as of right now, they kind of tend to, they gather their stuff and then they're going to submit it towards the deadline. So the other thing would be if you skip, so like January 6th and 27th, you're skipping, what?
The first of the year.
Yeah, if you ever do it where you skip 2 weeks in a row, then you obviously put a bigger burden that you're talking about 21 days before payment versus 14. So, again, it's doable by us. We can do whatever we have to do, but that's going to be the biggest burden is making sure that payments are paid on time. And then obviously suppliers currently usually expect that they're getting paid fairly quickly. This would push them back. Court-appointed attorneys, anything like that. It's a process to just get it over to us. So the longer that process is, the longer it takes to get them paid. There's potential pushback from suppliers on getting paid later.
Do we
So-
have a history of paying, being mostly timely in our payment of claims? Or is that a Nina question?
Yes, ma'am, but
Katie?
yes, ma'am, but again, it comes to court every single week. So right now, once they get it in, they know that we have an opportunity to pay all claims, not just what I was talking about with utilities, all claims weekly. So as you skip weeks, you lose that opportunity.
Okay.
You would have to speak on that because
Katie Connor, welcome back.
So we just implemented invoice imaging. I think Trevor's the only one who hasn't been trained, and it's his own fault. You picked the day. Anyway, what that invoice imaging does is, as soon as the invoices reach the accounts payable email, they're uploaded to Oracle, which means I can monitor how long it takes us to pay them. And actually, Brian wrote me a report that we can monitor too. We used to have to do it by hand, but now I can get a report. That's all I wanted to say. I'm sorry? Yeah, and then nobody will check anymore. No, but that report, I did send it out to some pieces out to some departments so that they could kind of have an idea that it's taking longer than 30 days. One of the things that needs to happen with that is when there is a dispute with the supplier, they sent you the wrong thing, they billed you wrong, none of that is being documented in our financial system. And so all you can see on the financial system is that it took 90 days to get it paid.
But there's not a note that says it was disputed.
Right.
Gotcha.
It's in, whoever was paying it, it's in their individual email, individual files. It would be helpful to encourage them to load that to Oracle or our financial system, so that when the dispute comes, if somebody says, how come it took so long, you have a reason.
Correct.
So I have a question. So right now everything kind of revolves around money and finance and payments and payroll and anything that where money is at some point, the end part is somebody getting paid, whether it's staff or vendors or whatever, contractors. So as Judge talks about the fact that we're working on processes and procedures and processes, and we're updating everything. Would it be possible, and again, I hate to say it this way, in the change, having department heads and or their responsible bill paying person, accounts payable person, to do a training to discuss all of this, it would help, whether we change the calendar or not, just to refine the process and remind everybody with all of the new technology to just do pretty much a mandatory training that the department head and or their accounts payable person, in collaboration with you finance people, you treasurer people, to come and talk about the process such that, and I know it's human nature, it's not going to fix everything, but at least they could say they can't say they didn't know.
True. And we don't have a lot of people say they don't know. If I was going to do, it's just they wait, they have other things to do, it's honestly procrastination a lot of times, or a lack of communication between the staff members in that office. But I can Oracle, we've been on Oracle for about 5 years now. I think most of the AP people have the invoicing part down, but we're finding that maybe understanding and reading your budget and your budgetary limits might need some more training. That was something the software didn't have the ability. We wanted to make it so they could look and see faster and cleaner without having to print something. We finally got that implemented November of 23, I think, because it's been over a year now. Anyway, but I don't know that they don't have to do it every day. They don't even have to do it ever. And so while they went to training,
They don't use it enough.
They don't use it enough
for it to
and
be
some
ingrained.
don't use it enough. We'll never use it enough,
Gotcha.
no matter what.
Okay.
But that might be more helpful as far as reading and understanding your budget.
Right. But with this schedule change, there's a bit of urgency, reminder, follow-up that could just kind of put it back on their head minds.
But you could play it into the change on the agenda deadline too.
I'm sorry.
You could roll it into the change on the agenda item deadlines. And so it's all changing. Does that make sense? Instead of, well, let's change this first and then let's change this. And it's
Put
just
it-
easier to
get all
just do it all
encompassing.
together. Yes.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Katie, thanks for the expert advice. Christian, any parting shots?
Yes, sir.
Commissioners, any questions for Mr. Villarreal?
Thank you for going and reaching out to your counterpart and finding out what they do and how they do it.
Absolutely.
Christian, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next, from Road and Bridge, Parthena Barnagy. Did I get that? Is that
That was not even close enough.
Is that close?
Did he say it?
Banerjee.
I know it's me.
Banerjee.
Nobody here has that name.
Banerjee. I want to get it right.
Judge Cackle
It's
did it.
Banerjee.
Well, at least you tried it. I don't think I've ever tried it.
I even put it.
Don't worry about it.
I did
Phonetics,
phonetics, yes.
phonics.
So looking at this two ways, just from platting and, subdivision, somebody dividing up their land or development, most of the developers who work for the county have some or the other experience with the cities, and most of the cities meet twice a month. Councils meet twice a month, P&Z meets the other two. And so I don't think, will have a heartburn over, us moving on to every other week. And sometimes actually I've found a lot of engineers surprised that, we actually meet every week, and they're like, oh, that's so much more efficient, The other counties that they've work every other week. So I think over there, I don't anticipate an issue with the development side of, the platting approval process. Some of the contracts, we probably work with purchasing on that, some of the bids and contracts and, right-of-way stuff that you see, utility and so on and so forth. We'll probably have to do a little more advanced planning. It should not be a deal breaker, but we'll have to, our staff, ourselves will have to need some, time to adjust to the new schedule. But I don't think it should be a big, whatnot. But it'll need some time to get used to it, basically. I thought about a few comments that I have heard from the public, and some of them touch on, oh, why is this at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday? It's not feasible for a lot of people who have jobs to come. And I think it was mentioned that the court has looked at an alternative time in the past, after hours or so on and so forth, and the public participation was not really a monumental difference between what was happening before to what happened after the fact. But one thing I want to talk about from a staff perspective, a lot of the staff that attend Commissioner's Court or who have to attend regular sessions of court are hourly staff. And so having just the idea of moving court time to after hours, basically compensating them for, extra time. And so, it's just a whole big logistical hassle. Instead, what I was thinking when people talk about, specific items really where they are really interested in, the workshops that we have been, hosting now on, probably have some of those workshops which have more public interest, those at a time which is after hours, which probably generate more public interest, so that that particular department is the only one that gets affected and, can show up, and the staff effect is limited to that department instead of the, a regular session. Mostly a lot of departments have a lot of staff attending. So, just, I gave a little thought about that, if that helps in any other.
Right, I think you bring up a good point, and that's part of the reasoning. We looked at this to help you all, also to be able to host more workshops where we can have that civil debate with the citizens, so they are fully engaged and understand what we're doing and where we're headed, in order to be more transparent. And I don't think we've said that but 150 times this week, and that's where we want to be.
Right.
But we want to make sure it does not affect your daily operations. The intent is to give you more time to perform your duties and for us all to be more prepared at court. So when we deliver at court, everybody's on the same page and the citizens understand exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for your first report that you sent us.
Yes,
That
excellent.
was
Yeah.
so good.
Excellent.
Very, very
And
good.
I was actually happy that I could send you that to show you how much we do in a month. A month
Yes.
seems like it goes by, it's Monday and it's Sunday, it's like in a week. But we do so much in a month, and actually that report doesn't really capture everything that we do. I wanted to just give a little snapshot, but we do more than that, and I can go more detailed, but I think too much, it'll get all lost, but I think that much.
Well, that was a great,
it's
Yeah.
a good
great,
start.
great
Bullet-
snapshot.
Yeah, right, good,
Yeah.
yeah, snapshot, succinct, and the pictures were great.
Yeah, the pictures
Yeah.
were wonderful.
Our guys take good pictures.
I'd love to see road and bridge, well, capital projects in general, if we had a regular quarterly, maybe in the meeting, maybe a workshop, whatever, but
A
probably in the
monthly road
meeting.
and bridge
Yeah,
workshop.
just a monthly,
Put up
or
the
even in the
pictures,
meeting,
yeah.
just an update, so
On the
people
capital
mistakenly
projects.
believe that road and bridge has, I don't think people understand the capacity that you guys attack a project. How many projects you
We do in
attack?
a month, yeah.
I know that when I've called you for an issue, it's your team is immediately on
Yeah.
it. When we have a culvert collapse, and the only reason it's not done in a few hours is because the plant we need the material from isn't
Yeah,
open.
we're waiting on
But it's
them.
open. It's open the next day, and it's 103 degrees outside. That's one that sticks out in my
Mm-hmm.
mind. So I think the public needs to understand what the road and bridge is doing. And our capital projects update, I think would be helpful as well, because when you have people thinking, oh, well, we can just, road and bridge can just take on the trip bond, you know? Well,
Yeah, we don't.
yeah, sure. We'll just take on handling everything DC does here in the court. I mean, yeah, it's a
Yeah,
lot.
it's
I
a
think, and it's just
different,
because people don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know.
It's a completely, and I know a lot of you on the court know, it's a completely different skill set and a completely different knowledge base that it's almost impossible to have that in-house. It's kind of a little waste to have a person like that work for Road and Bridge, and then what do you do after the bond program is done? Like, what do you do
Yeah.
with that person? First of all, a person like that will not work for the county government. Typically, they are consultants. This is a very common practice all over the state, all over the country. I've worked in different states. I've had PE licenses in different states. It's a very common practice. That's what you touched upon, that people are not aware. It's for the first time happening in our area. You know, we have a consultant who does such specialized work, and they're wondering, what are these people doing? In fact, I've mentioned to, going a little off topic, but I've mentioned to Judge Peters too, $15,000 that we pay ITS is not a lot of money in engineering fields
For what they're doing,
for
yeah.
what they do, the kind of expertise and what they bring to the table. It's a very, very specialized skill set, and you wouldn't, if you hired a person in-house, you wouldn't get somebody for $15,000. But anyways, that's a separate topic.
I might
We'll
just
talk
edit
about
that comment that 15 a month is a lot of money.
It is, but not for
what
what
we're getting. Yeah. I know what you meant.
Yeah. I mean, in engineering fields, what we do, we build a road, it's like $500,000. It's not a big project, it's a very tiny project. $500,000 is a lot of money.
Sure.
But for road construction, it's not really a lot of money. So
Right.
that's, when you're talking about what you're talking about, in terms of what the scale at what we, what product you're talking about, that's what, I mentioned. It's 15,000, I agree, is a lot of money.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think I can afford that.
But for what we're getting.
For what
Yeah.
we get is quite a cheap, amount, so.
And I have to say again, as a new commissioner, I remember the job description, and first thing is road and bridge. If I talk to somebody, the first thing they say, well, what do commissioners do? Road and bridges. I say, well, no, we have other departments, but yes, one of the primary functions that we do is taking care of the road and bridges. Because I say the job starts at the county line. You start at the county line, so, anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Great
Remind us how
report.
many miles of road the county maintains?
How many?
400. We added a few yesterday.
gonna
So
say, it's almost
as of a little while before, probably around 485, 490.
So we can just say approximately 500 miles of
approximately
county
500,
roads
and then
in Brazos
approximately
County.
Let's
70
round it up.
bridges
500 miles of road.
and 70 bridges. So
70
What?
bridges.
70 bridges.
Yeah.
70
approximately
bridges.
70 bridges.
65 to
70 bridges?
70
Wow.
bridges. So it's a large endeavor. So.
Yes. Commissioners, any other questions for
Thank you,
Pratana?
Nope, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Pratana, thank you so much. We are now at the last comment from in-house. Is there anybody, we have another one? Oh, do you want to back clean up or go now? You get to go now, from the constable's office. Oh, he wants to back clean up. We'll give him that ability since he offices here with us. Leslie Contreras with Risk Management.
Management.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry, I wasn't going to speak at first. I'm just going to be frank about this. Sorry, Leslie Contreras, Risk Management, Precinct 2.
All the cool kids are precinct 2.
So nobody has actually said what I keep thinking in my head every day when I come to court. So I'm just going to be.
Say it.
I'm just going to say it. I'm for this change. It will be a difference, and we will have to make adjustments, and we will have to find new creative ways to make things work.
New procedural ways.
Yes.
Creative is not allowed in this courtroom now.
I will say, however, just from the perspective of a department head and employees that come to court every Tuesday and sit and watch and listen, because we either have agenda items on court or we have some other interest of an item that's on court.
Or we're going to need your expertise.
That too. From our perspective, before we had a bunch of court changes and procedural changes and things like that, our court sessions were between 15 and 30 minutes long. That is no longer the case. That changed about a year or 2 years ago. And yes, with the last election, it has really changed.
Started when I came on board in '23.
Yes. So just from a perspective of myself and staff and things like that, we do have actual jobs that we have to do every day in the office and administrative duties and things like that. And so from our perspective, going to a 2-day per month would actually relieve us a little bit on time in our offices. Yes, we would have to change procedures and protocols and things like that. I think it's doable. But I was just surprised nobody brought that up about the time, because a lot of people in here make a lot of money. It's not your low dollar people that are coming to court. It's your department heads, elected officials, and things like that are coming to court and sitting for 2 to 3, sometimes 4 hours through court, just like you all are. And so I don't know that if that's ever been put in perspective of, you're paying those people a lot of money to sit and listen.
Leslie, and that's the point. We want to give y'all the opportunity to do your jobs, and we have the confidence in that.
Yes.
And what we want to hear today is y'all's willingness to adapt to a new schedule to give you the ability to do your jobs at the best of your ability.
And I think that's a very valuable point. Although transacting county business in public is necessary, required by statute, and a good outreach to our community, it does cost the county a lot of money to have all y'all sitting here to answer questions that the commissioners may not have had, and we're okay with moving forward with something, but somebody asked a question.
Right.
So I think it's a very valid point. And I thought about that because I'm just like, how much money are we spending right now? Not now, but during a commissioners court meeting.
Right.
While we're sitting here listening to public comments on something that we're not even taking up on the agenda.
Right. I do have one caveat to that, is that, risk management processes citizen claims against the county. And in that, there's sometimes smaller dollar amount claims that we don't hire a lawyer for or send a TAC or our insurance company because it won't meet the deductible. And in those cases, we always send those items, once we've done our investigation and processes, gotten everybody's side of the story, we send those claims through Commissioner's Court. If we're sending that claim through Commissioner's Court, that means we're actually having to pay a citizen for property damage or something that one of our employees maybe have damaged of someone else's. I just want to make sure that y'all are aware that might extend the timeline for getting that claim approved through court to be able to pay the citizen out. Now, what other counties have done, not all counties do this, but some counties give their risk department authority to pay out claims. I do not want that. I'm putting that out there. But I always want to send that stuff to Commissioner's Court. But I just want to give you the heads up that might delay a citizen's payment. And if it does, they're usually already not very happy because we've already damaged something of theirs. I just want to put it in, let y'all know that they might be calling you if I'm like, hey, I'm sorry, we don't have court until this date, just to give you an FYI. But I will try to, in the future, if I think I'm going to have an angry citizen about something, I try to contact that precinct commissioner to let them know, hey, this person lives in your precinct, they filed a claim, and either we're going to deny it, they're not going to be happy, but we're going to deny it. So we give you that heads up in case they call you, and we tell you why. But there might be, a case where I might have to call and say, hey, this claim is coming through. We are going to approve it, but it's prolonged because of the court dates. Just a heads up, this is the person's name. They might be calling you because they want to get paid now. So just to put that in y'all's forefront.
Commissioners, any questions? And I think we can address some of that through policy and procedure, correct?
Yes.
Giving you a certain threshold?
Yes. And I do ask just to have Commissioners Court make sure that those protocols and procedures are sent out so everybody understands, maybe do a little training or something. I think that is 100%. I think it's doable. I'm on board.
I'm hearing willingness to adapt to a new opportunity.
Yes.
And thank you for being forthcoming. Sometimes people won't say, they're a little uncomfortable, and I would hope that we never have staff or people who work for the county who can't come and express themselves and feel like they can do it comfortably. So thank you for doing that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Leslie, thank you.
Thank you, Leslie.
You've inspired others. The court now calls Trevor Lansdowne.
Oh, is this part-time Trevor?
Morning, Judge and Commissioners. I actually was going to speak to the same thing that Leslie did about getting the time back. On every. I promise.
You mean you're busy?
That's right. And so, I'm sure that'll be filled up with a biweekly Tuesday 10 a.m. for some other project.
Well,
that
plus
we've
you
got
still
going.
have a course to go through, right?
Absolutely. Invoice imaging, it's on my list. It's on the list before you leave, Katie. I just want to echo the sentiments. I'm sort of indifferent to this. I know it just changes up the game a little bit for us as we prepare to put things on court, and we just up our game and meet the mark everywhere that we can. We are in the process of a project to rework the agenda software, and I just wanted to let y'all know we did propose this to the software team that's working on that. There's no issues for us to be able to implement that from this side. And I know it's come up, and one other mention of just kind of procedurally and what we're looking at, consent agendas are things that some of the other counties and cities use from just a purely streamlining perspective. I think that's something that we could benefit from. A lot of the counties do it that are kind of similarly sized for us, and it just shrinks that time down. I know we're talking about having everybody in here for a long time, and if there's some way that we can streamline it.
And cities do that all the time
They do.
also.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So that's all I had.
Trevor, thank you. Commissioners,
Absolutely.
any questions for Trevor? Thank you, Trevor. I'm going to call up Ed Bull. Oh, Miss Connor.
You're spending about $1,500 an hour right here.
Yeah.
On Tuesdays.
Good morning, Ed Bull, Chief of Staff. I want to kind of echo what Trevor said in regards to, he brought up the consent agenda, because obviously we're talking about the change in the dates, which is a huge move for us, and I think I'm thankful for everyone that's spoken positively in regards to that. But that's not the end of it. There's going to have to be some additional changes. We need to look at that potential change to a consent agenda. I'm asking the court to be patient with us as we move forward. Obviously, this will free up some additional time for those workshops, so we may have some built-in days for special sessions. I guess the question, and based upon what Commissioner Nettles said, and I appreciate, if there's something that a department head is aware of that potentially may be an issue, reach out to those other counties. We're not reinventing the wheel, but we're implementing it here, or putting that wheel on here. And so we know that other counties have dealt with this. So why don't we just go there first, if we're not necessarily so unique that it's going to be different. Because moving forward, we need to decide at what point it's going to be an emergency or true emergency that needs a special session called versus tough luck. We're going to just have to push it out to the actual official regular meeting date. But thank you.
Thank you,
Judge and Commissioners.
Ed, Commissioners, any questions for Ed? Okay, moving to Barbara Smith. I was looking, there she is. I'm sorry.
Barbara Smith, Public Communications Officer, cool kid in Precinct 2. No, in talking about the efficiencies and the procedures, and then hearing Katie and Christian talking about certain things with the budget, but these people only do this once a year, and the training and different things like that. One of the benefits that I think we're going to be able to see when Ken comes over to our office and we can set up a little mini studio is we can put together training videos for things exactly like that, something that someone does once a year. We can put a video together, maybe put it on the HR website, and it's something that then can be referred back to when it's needed. With the changeovers here, with whatever changes need to be in effect to make this work easier for everyone, that's going to be something that we're going to be able to do from the communication standpoint to help employees that way as well.
Excellent. Thank you for pointing out that there are a lot of changes coming on, and the fact that all the departments are willing to learn and do things different ways that are more efficient and give you more time and ability to do your job. Melissa, excuse me, I see Marcia over there, and I know you're quiet, but the agenda does affect you and Melissa. Did you want to say anything? And you don't have to. I just want you to have the opportunity. Come on up and just say hi. with the expertise, we want to.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Judge and That's right. We do abide by the rules. It goes for everybody. That's right. Marcia Anderson, County Judge's Office, Precinct 2.
Another cool kid.
Mother Superior.
All right. Honestly, like I said before, Melissa and I will work with whatever is best for the court on this. We are there to receive the information. The only thing that I ask of you is to meet the deadline. Because when we say that it's the deadline, that's when we cut it off.
Yeah. And currently, what is the deadline, since everybody is
Well,
listening?
currently, we are going from 72 hours to 3 business days, so it's almost like a whole week in advance. When we have court on Tuesday right now, your agenda is also due on Tuesday. I send it out on Wednesday, and that is right now. We're going to send out an agenda, and we're talking about the time that we're spending here. We're going to have to really work hard to get that agenda out for us by today.
Thank you. And I think that was very important for you to stand up here, and I am very appreciative
Thank you very much.
of what you and Melissa do weekly. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Prathana wants back. She's going to show Katie.
No,
There's two dramatic entrances.
I thought she wanted Melissa.
Okay, I'm sorry, you can't ask questions after you've already spoken. We have that.
By the way, I'm Precinct 1, and I do not want to be a cool kid. I'm just saying. I'm fine being the not cool one.
Perfect.
No, just
We're not the cool
to
kids.
Marsha's point, actually, several times, and she knows this, and she's too nice to say that Road and Bridge has several times asked her to, like, can we, push it to, 12:15. The thing is, we work with a lot of people from the outside, especially on the development side. And on the application forms, I know, we had that, when one of the plats was tabled just because the application form was not filled out correctly. It takes so much from our staff and us to have people fill that application form out correctly and send it to us in time so that we can upload it to, the agenda software and so on. So we try, but there are just people that they're working with us for the first time, or just even repeat offenders. They just don't think it's important, And so I just wanted to highlight that if it's an agenda item that we submit ourselves, we try to, most often than not, make it on time. But because we work with a lot of people from the citizens, it's just sometimes, we're struggling. And so with this new change, we'll just have to kind of get with people ahead. And this helps because it gives us a little more time.
Correct.
That if you want to get in 2 weeks, so, there's more, time to be like, hey, give it to us a week before so that we can.
And currently doing our subdivision guidelines slash
Yeah, regulations.
procedures.
Yeah, that'll be an endeavor.
And that's
We'll
where
have fun with that.
technology, when our team's willing to learn and learn a new system, they need to learn the new system. And with technology, it can be very clearly stated on those
Right.
forms when they have to have them in to be on the docket.
Yeah.
And if they want to be on the docket, they need to get their forms filled out correctly.
And our form system is also fairly complicated. Our regulations are very complicated. We are planning to simplify all of that, make it online so that, there's ease to the process. It's a little cumbersome right now, but we'll work on that and make it all simple, but, we're not there yet. But in the meantime.
We're going to get there.
We'll get there, yeah.
That's what we want to hear.
I just wanted to,
Prathan, thank you for that clarification. Commissioners, any questions for Prathana? Okay, we did Barbara. Marsha. Donald Lampo. Lampo.
First of all,
Well-
you guys give these guys applause. They keep this going. They keep-
There is no doubt.
First of all, you're going to address the court. All right. You got close to one question for you group.
And your name and
Donald Lampo, Precinct 2. Are you five ready for this?
So that's a great question because, for me as one of five, and I mean, I think everyone would probably agree with me, is you're elected to represent the constituency. So if we can, I expect that there may be some hiccups. But if we're going to go to this and it becomes, arduous, then we're going to real quickly need to reconsider. For me, that's just what I say. So, I'm all about staff utilizing their time, potentially not being in meetings at 10 every Tuesday and doing more things. But I just want to make sure that we don't miss the bus on
Yeah, because when I say about
representing
you
the
five, are you
constituents or
ready?
handling the
Because
county's business. Yeah.
The perception's out there already now, you only work one day a week.
Mm-hmm.
And you come to this now, and it's gonna be 2 days a month, are you ready for?
The fallout?
I hear it already.
correct.
And I try to sit in that window over there. I've had a dummy sitting in there every once in a while, but most of the time my face is in that window.
Mm-hmm.
I even still get questioned, how much do you work? When are you there? This, that, and the other. So this is gonna,
It's going to have a different perspective. Let's do
you might
this.
better think about this.
I like your
Yeah.
question, but I want to give each commissioner an opportunity to respond to that.
Yes.
Commissioner Nettles?
Well, since I'm here almost every day, I'm happy to meet with whoever wants to, but, I've only had one person take me up on that in the now 9 months that I've been here. So, I believe in hard work. I'm okay with doing it, but if my constituents have a issue with that, I'm happy to visit with them.
Commissioner Brown?
I feel the exact same way. I'm here every day.
We see you at 8:15 every morning, we stroll in, brother. Yes, we do.
sir. And I've had of course, I never hear from anybody in Precinct 3. I don't know what the problem is. When I had one town hall, and the only people that showed up were people on the East Loop. So, and they
Can't
weren't
help
even
you there.
and they weren't even from my precinct. But anyway,
Right.
but if I have any constituents that have any problems with it, I'll be more than happy to share what my hours are and that I'm here and available for them every day. So, thank
Well,
you.
Commissioner Watson.
Well, same here. And, I think yesterday somebody talked about getting the, as they kind of ding us on transparency about getting the information out. And similar to what the other commissioners have said, I have gone to events and tried to host events, and the turnout was abysmal. Now, the town halls have been a little bit better, but, my town halls that I participate in, I partner with my city council guys also. So it's not just me hosting it. And so that's why I said that works for me. But they're absolutely right. You try to engage them. I do go to a lot of events. So sometimes if I'm not in the office, I may be at a community event that may not count because not everybody's there to see me. And so, I don't know that we're going to be able to I'm saying get away with. I don't know that whether or not we meet every week will make a difference, because it's back to what you're saying, it's about perception, and they're perceiving that if we're not because we don't have court every day, so there's no way to document that we're physically in the building.
True.
know,
true.
so, you know, I think that's just going to be a part of it, that we may be perceived as not being here. But and even if we go to community events, luncheons, and, you know, constituent, like Amigo, I go to the Amigo luncheon it's a once-a-month event. But then, as far as I know, none of those people have ever been to Commissioner's Court since I've been on Commissioner's Court. So I don't know that we'll be able to get away from the perception that we're not working every day and we're not attending events and doing because I really do believe in community engagement. But it does get difficult because when you try to reach out to your constituents, they don't show. So all you can do is do your best and represent them in the best that you can, and just roll with it, and, you know, you'll be able to document,
But it's just, you know, just beware, because it's going to
Oh, I know.
pop up.
I know.
Yeah.
Correct. And
It's going to pop up.
And before I
It's
go
going to
back to Commissioner Condra that started this with you, I will say this. We wanted to have this workshop for this prospective calendar to give our department heads the ability to get their job done in a 2-week span. We also wanted to have the ability to have more workshops for the citizens to be engaged. The number one thing I've heard since my short time here is that during public comment, the public does not get to have a debate with the Commissioner's Court. The workshop gives us the ability to converse and let them know that we are here engaged daily and that we are aware of the agenda items coming up on the court docket. We do not understand that. We just do not have the ability during court to respond to them directly. I think yesterday's workshop early in the morning, one of our normal visitors was shocked when we were able to stop and answer her question immediately before 3 more questions were asked, and it's hard to go back in time. But that is the debate that I think we all want to have on our ongoing, we'll say it one more time, transparency
Right.
is where we want to be. But we do have the faith in everybody behind you, including you, whether department head, hired or elected.
This
You
behind
have
me
the
is gonna-
ability
it's gonna
to,
get it done for you.
you need to have the
Very
ability to
well.
fly
They're
and do
getting it
your
done.
job at the best of your ability.
And I think part of the problem that, I don't mean to speak for
No,
Bentley,
please,
but I'll
Mr. Brown.
speak for myself. When Bentley and I came on board, it was just information dump. I mean, there were things that came before us that we didn't know anything about because it happened the previous year.
Right.
And we're supposed to be up to speed by the time we go into court the next day or 3 days later. So it was difficult. It was difficult for me because we didn't have any workshops. We didn't discuss anything. And now this gives us an opportunity to really dive deep into whatever the issue is and really talk about it before we actually go into a regular meeting.
Well, I don't know what was happening previously before the court, but there was just never any questions asked. It was kind of like status quo. We just, here it is, go. Y'all come along and ask questions, legitimate questions, good questions. You've got people thinking now and watching what they're doing, where previously it was just, okay, that's the way it's done, let's do it. Pass.
Well, mine was a little different for them. What I would do, I guess it was coming from higher education, I didn't publicly ask questions. I would go to whatever department person, and then I would sit with that person, and I would just do my homework one-on-one. He's right. I remember the very first executive session, and they were discussing things that had been 2-3 years back. And, you know, I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh, I have no clue what they're talking about. But even after that, I didn't necessarily come to court and ask it publicly because I just kind of did my homework. I just kind of did my homework, you know, behind closed doors. And I would do my studying and learning how to be a commissioner from an individual perspective. You are right. The public discussion, the workshops are better. I think it's two-pronged. It's good for us, but I think it is good for the citizens of Brazos County to see because they don't know what the county does. I've had a number of people that said they had no clue what the Commissioner's Court does. So for those of you who are in this room who oversee the different departments, it is good for you. It is good for the residents to see, if they go out and watch the video, to see what the county does, to put faces with it, so that they understand the function of the county. So I was, like I said, I was a little different from them. I did my own homework because I was doing it like a college student get the information, do the homework, go talk to the people, try to figure it out. But doing it publicly has been good for all of us, I think.
What you say, Willis?
I say I learned it on my own.
Commissioner Condola?
The only thing I would add to the comments already made is that I certainly don't, this isn't going to be the only meeting schedule. I like that this opens up the workshops. I like the idea that the county can be perceived and act more transparency. I think the citizens will greatly enjoy that. And a lot of the times where people are upset or questioning or unhappy about something with the county, and in the meeting, yeah, we don't always get to interact with them, but a lot of the times when we have workshops, I see people shaking their heads like, oh, I get why that's happening, or oh, that's why that's happening, where they may have come in with a different perception. So if we do go to the 2 meetings a month with the addition of workshops.
And opportunity to have additional meetings.
Yeah, absolutely. The ability to have other meetings. I would hate for us to just go to twice a month. I think twice a month with the additional meetings when needed and workshops when appropriate. I think I champion that. But if this isn't working well for conducting the county's business, then I think we'll need to very quickly take another look at it.
If we had had workshops back when all the debacle about the East Loop happened, there wouldn't have been all those problems. I think the issue would have been solved much sooner, and we wouldn't have had the huge crowds, with pitchforks and
I don't know that would have changed.
daggers and everything else. Anyway.
All the cool kids.
Yeah.
They weren't from the,
That's funny.
I don't know about.
Well, I'll tell you though, when you go back, and
No, I don't
know.
think so.
I don't know about that.
I don't think there was anything that we could have said that would have changed the outcome.
but when you go back to that,
Better communication.
there's a lesson to be learned.
Correct.
I was candidate Condola in 22, so I was at the meetings. It made sense to me. Things were talked about, whatnot in workshops. But as I said, when I led the motion to stop the East Loop, a lot of people didn't understand that it was being called just a study. Well, it was a determination of a route. And had we had more workshops and engagement, that might have been before the vote, before that trip bond vote, November 22 ballot, people would have been voting yes or no with more information. That was definitely something I've seen as a commissioner as a learning opportunity for the county to hopefully never have that many people unaware of something that major that would affect that many cool kids. And so I'm looking forward to operating as a court where people don't have that surprise.
Well, I ran into that also for what little reading I did back in 20 on the trip bond and everything. I really didn't have a clue about this East Loop until a year ago when they brought it forward. I didn't research it. I didn't look into it. I paid no attention to it. And that's my fault too, because I was being asked questions and I had to go, I don't have a clue what you're talking about. I don't know where to go find an answer to come back to you either. But back to this court deal though. This court is moving from my number of years being here way progress than we've had before with the public. This workshop here, I don't know let's see, Karen, we ain't never had one this much fun and stuff, have we? and get things accomplished.
Yours
and
is
get
close.
things accomplished.
Yours is really close.
This has been nice, very nice, because everybody had a chance to give their input.
Yeah.
I know there's some behind me that had a lot more they wanted to say, but they were scared too. But we're loosening up. Before, they would have never got up to speak. We're moving forward. Thank you.
This court recognizes the value behind you.
No.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Because
And you.
They wouldn't have.
One of the cool.
And me,
Yeah. A little bit.
I just want you to know you have a new nickname.
Remember, I'm old as dirt. I don't care if you think a little bit about me or a lot about me, okay?
Commissioner Watson.
Chucky.
No, I just told him, I said, he has a new nickname, but I'm not going to say it in open court.
Thank you for
Who, me?
that.
I don't care. Go for it.
Constable Lampo, I'm going to thank you right now so you can leave before she does throw that out there. And we will ascertain
Oh,
what
you
that
through
new
with me?
nickname is.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I want to thank everybody that took the time to come today and speak. And you still have an opportunity via email, catching any of us in the hall to communicate. And I think yesterday at the end of court or during announcements, made mention of as commissioners on my left and right both said when they came, they had to learn fast and understand. We did find the policy handbook for a new commissioner that was dated 2010. On Monday morning, Marcia and I had pulled out, and that is currently under review. Technology has changed since 2010. Things have happened, and we are moving at a different speed and path, but that's because of you all. We have the ability to move at a different speed in our growth and our timing, and we are very, very thankful for what you all do every day. So thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 2 is public comment. I'm going to give one announcement to see if anybody from the public would like to comment. We do have one electronic submitted piece of testimony, which I will read as fast as possible. Going once, twice. Good. The public comment that has been submitted electronically is from John Book, Precinct 2. I am a strong believer in providing greater court access and for considering a variance of current Commissioners Court schedule with consultation from county staff to its feasibility. I am heartened today by today's workshop session even happening. I wish I could provide these comments in person today, but there is in fact the trouble many members of the public, your constituents, have coming before you as the court of last resort as a person outside of the incorporated limits of various city governments in Brazos County, or simply to participate in local county government. As I review the court's business today via video or YouTube, this is better than in years past. Nevertheless, traditions should not stand in the way of innovation and improvement of public services. You, as a court, provide a public service. You are the very basic representative body of each citizen, voter, or not, within the county. Access to the court should be expanded. Turning to the implementation, I am concerned if regular Commissioners Court meetings were to drop from a weekly schedule, but the current regular meeting court schedule is not always weekly. Stacking of workshops and public hearings wherever possible is prudent for the flow of court business and time efficiency, not just for staff and the public, but also for the elected members of this body. Again, efficiency while balancing access should always be in the court's mind with deliberations of changes to the court rules or court implementation following all necessary state, statute, and legal requirements of county government. We each should find the germane points to the court's business and carry forward with the implementation impartially to expand court access to members of the public. It is for this reason I am recommending a changing of the schedule to one that includes evening regular Commissioners Court meetings, or at the very least, public hearings or public comments in the evenings provide citizens public comment on the public record in person. I hope that the court's deliberations today will elevate its implementation of its meetings for greater time for the public, transparency for the execution of county business, and citizen participation in the very basic of forms of public governance. Thank you, John Book.
Very good.
Thank you, Mr. Book, for those duly noted. And I would say that as we consider changes, the time we can work on that. We've also established that Tuesday at 10 a.m. is when we meet. I would hate to see a bigger change ahead of time, but I think not knowing, I will say that workshops could happen at any time of day and give us the opportunity to do that. So duly noted, Mr. Book, thank you for that recommendation. Moving on to agenda item number 4, consider and discuss the 2025-26 regular Commissioners Court meeting schedule. Did we have somebody that want to lead this, or do we lead from the bench? And we'd be happy to. So with that being said and lack of comments, I will leave it to the commissioners to comment. And I will start on my left, your right, with Commissioner Watson. Commissioner Watson, I'm simply asking for, based on today's testimony and the opportunity, I guess one fact we've left out to everybody in the audience, we have to do this month in September. So this workshop we will have to push the Excel button and move forward fast and get this on a court agenda ASAP, because we have to make this decision before the end of September if we decide to change. I see a willingness of department and employees ready and engaged to take the opportunity. I see a commissioner's court that has taken the time to put a workshop on our agenda and have it and discuss the opportunity. And I feel that we are willing to, but I want to hear it from the four commissioners. So with that,
Okay.
Commissioner Watson.
Well, I'm conflicted, and that's because, kind of back to what some of the staff have said, you know, and kind of what Constable Lampo just said, we're already, you know, under such scrutiny, and for me, while the weekly court sessions have been long and gotten longer, as I've heard, you know, like I said, it really started in 2023 when I came on board, as we began to have more and more citizens' input. And so in that regard, because we're getting dinged by a perception of whether or not we're doing what we need to do, making sure that we're available and responsive at least once a week, publicly visible to the constituents. That is where I'm conflicted and where I have some concerns, because if we go to every other week, how does that impact the perception of what they think about whether or not we are working or not? But then the other thing, in talking to some of the staff, I did understand that in some cases it makes it easier for people to prepare every other week because of documentation and information that y'all need to put together to have ready for us when we do come on the court. I am okay whether we keep it as is or whether we go to 2 times a month. I just want to make sure that after hearing the comments, that we're making sure that everybody's ready for the potential transition in terms of how does it change the workload, how does it impact people, and that's why I was saying, do we need to do some kind of a training, mandatory training, because I know sometimes if you make it optional, there will be those who don't show up. But if we do some kind of training in preparation for the changes and how it will impact all of the departments and what they need to do in response to that change. So I'm okay. I can go to 2 weeks. I was a little surprised when it was brought up, but I was, again, from going to the conferences, I was aware that some communities, some counties only do 2 times a month, and I was kind of surprised at, how do y'all do that? You know, so I'm okay. I can do 2 times a month. It may free up more time for community engagement, because I have had requests for opportunities to go and do presentations and go to different organizations, and I always tell people never on Tuesday. I never do anything outside of the court on Tuesdays if I can help it.
Thank you, Commissioner Watson. Commissioner Brown.
I'm totally in favor for this. I mean, cities have been doing this for years and years. Now a lot of counties are doing it. And and I think we can simplify a lot of it when we do every 2 weeks by having a consent agenda. There's so many things that should be on that consent agenda that would save a lot of staff time and save a lot of our time. In addition, this gives us the opportunity to have workshops, and I think the public loves that because they see what we're actually doing laid out in front of them, and they have a say-so in it. So I'm totally in favor of this.
Thank you, Commissioner Brown. Commissioner Conderla.
Great idea, Fred, on the consent agenda. And I'm okay with trying this. I'm leery. I just, you know, we're growing busy county, so we'll just have to see how it goes, and be open to readdressing it if we don't feel like we're conducting county business as well as possible without too many hiccups. But I think talented staff here, talented leadership in the audience, we could do this and give it a shot and be successful.
Thank you, Commissioner Conderla. Commissioner Nettles.
So I may be the guilty one who came up with this idea, because when you do the dog and pony show every week, the folks that make this happen and make us look good, they, just like with the new notice requirement, they're starting yesterday to put out the agenda for the following week. And they get burnt out. And I've dealt with that. When I ran the state agency, I had 5 commissioners that I had 3 to 5, 3 originally, then 5, and we had to, it shut down everything else because we're focused on presenting to them, because this is a public meeting, and making sure they were comfortable with what we're doing. And so I really started looking at it. So I did kind of anecdotal look at the 10 counties and population around us, and it's 50-50. 5 of them hold it every week, 5 of them hold it every other week. I'm like, okay, well, that's not really enlightening. And then you look at Montgomery County, which is 3 times our size, and they have theirs every other week. And so I asked staff to get together, and some of these issues were raised, and I said, well, go talk to your counterparts, see how they do that in Montgomery County. They're bigger than us. The presumption is they have more things that they have to get through, and they were still able to do it on every other week. So I think it's doable. My original thought was to try to do it during the high vacation months, to do it November, December, March, and then June, July, because in August we're all going to be here working on budget. But the judge said, no, let's just try it. And so I'm in favor of that. I think it's a move in the right direction. I think we take the money being spent by the county for y'all to sit in these meetings and go spend it doing your day-to-day job, which also helps the county. But I'm also interested in other options. I don't know that a nighttime commissioner's court is going to be effective. And then we have employees that run into childcare problems, and we have all kinds of issues with that. But maybe we could consider doing a road show with our workshops, take one down in the south part of the county, the west part of the county, east. I don't know. We've never done it before. So, you know, we're going to try to do things that we've never done before in order to reach out to people and get them more engaged in what we're doing. I think the days of you come in and the county commissioner court meeting is done in 15 minutes is gone forever. So with social media and all the other involvement, engagement with what we do, I'm in favor of it, but I think I'm just concerned about staff burnout. So I appreciate y'all's comments, not just the staff that makes this happen, but all y'all are here. And I know Charles probably breaks out in a cold sweat because we know he's going to be called up on here on any contract that we have. So thank you.
Commissioner Nettles, thank you. Thank you all for being here today. This is truly the court's ability and opportunity to try to make your job better and easier. Based on the comments I heard today, we will put this on the agenda in a timely period with the new law and posting requirements, and look forward to your additional comments via email or stopping us in the hall or coming by our office. Our doors are always open, and that is to the public as well, our listening audience today. Hopefully they'll take in this incredible workshop. Also today, duly noted, was Donald hit it on the nail on the head. The morale today after yesterday's budget and where we're headed, we want you to be in a place you want to work every day. So help us make you want to come to work and do what you do every day for this incredible county. So once again, thank you for your participation. We will put this on the agenda and look forward to another good debate and your comments coming to us electronically or in person over the next few days. With that, the workshop on the proposed calendar for the 2026 year is now adjourned.